I see you, April. Damn it. That's gonna piss me off. Yeah, I remember what I was doing. Story of the bat. The birds challenged for great ball. It was agreed that all creatures which had should be on one side, and all those which had feathers should go to the other side. Birds. The day was fixed, and all the arrangements were made. The grounds were prepared, the poles erected, and the balls conjured. Medicine man. All the animals came. All that had teeth went on one side. The birds. He went with the animals having teeth, but they said, "No, you have wings. You must go with the birds." And they said, "No." So they drove him away, saying, "You so little, you do no good." He went to ready to play. But you're too small to help us. But as you have teeth on our side, and it soon appeared that the birds were winning, as they could catch the ball in the air where the four-footed animals could not reach it. The crane was the best player. The animals were in despair, and none of them bat with the air caught the ball as the crane was flapping slowly along. Again and again, the bat caught the ball, and he won the game for the four-footed animals. They agreed that though he was small, he should always be classed with the animals having teeth. Can you hear me, April? If you can hear me, put a 1 in the chat or something. So no, you can't hear me? Can you hear me now? If you can hear me, put a 1 in the chat. Well, so I've just been talking to myself this whole time for a reason. Hey, Lex. Monster lizard. And the men went a long distance into the country and encamped. While they were hunting about, some of them discovered and had Kukleba, a monster lizard. One of them said, "I'm going to have a race with him." He relied upon a very potent word which he had, so he tied some white buckskin around his legs just below the knee, placing a white feather on his head. Shit. Placing a white feather on his head and put on a white shirt. Damn it. I lost my place. So he tied some white buckskin strings around his legs, just below the knee, placed a white feather on his head, and put on a white shirt. Then he said, "Now go and show me the place where he lives." And they guided him to the spot and then stood back while he went up close to it. He called out, "Hatkukliba, come out and let us race." Whereupon the big lizard came to his den and stood after him. As the man ran, he shouted, "Kaiga, Kaiga." He ran across the prairie, keeping just ahead of the animal until they were out of sight. The people waited, and after a long time saw the white shirt and feather in the distance. The runner was coming with the lizard still close after him, and he ran by the lizard's den. But by the time the lizard was so completely exhausted that he stopped and laid down. After they had all returned to their camp, another man said, "I'm going to try him." And the red answered, "You may not understand how to contest. You had better not try." However, he insisted, and like the other man, he dressed himself up with white buckskin strings, a white shirt, and a white feather. The crowd went along as before and watched while he approached the lizard's den and called out, "Come out, Hatkukliba, and let us race." When the lizard came out, when the lizard came down, he ran off, calling out the same words as the other man. They raced over the prairie and out of sight behind the same ridge. About the time they thought he ought to be coming back, they saw the lizard returning with half of the man's body hanging out of his mouth. Then they set the woods on fire for home. The hunter, the monster lizard, and the panther. A man and his wife camped out in a certain place with many dogs in order to hunt. The dogs would trail a bear, and when they had brought it to bay, they would bark in a peculiar manner. What's up, Rainer? Thanks for coming by, man. Whereupon the man would come up and kill the bear. In this way, he got a number of them. Direction, except he started off in that direction. Found a piece of flat land running down to the bottom land, and just beyond, a very rough and rocky place. Presently, he heard his dogs bark near the rocks and supposed to found the bear. So he started. Oh, I lost my place again. So he started in the direction of the noise. When he got near, however, darted out from among the rocks, seized the dog, and carried it back. It was a huge lizard. Then the man turned around and ran back toward his camp. When he had covered about half of the distance, he stopped and listened. It sounded as though but few dogs were left. After a short time, he stopped again to listen, and now he heard one dog bark. The next time he stopped, he heard none. When he had gotten still farther and looked back, the ground being open behind him, found that he was being pursued. The hunter soon the big lizard was certain to catch him, so he dropped upon the ground and lay flat on his chest. When the lizard came up, he heard it panting like a tired dog. It took him in his mouth and started to carry him back to his den. The man looked from time to time to see how near they were to the place, and at last he saw that they were close to the place from which he had started running. There he noticed something moving about. He thought that in a moment the lizards were going to cut him into pieces and eat him. But when they reached the place where the thing moved, he heard something making a scratching noise in a tree nearby. The lizard heard it also and threw the man down. But the continued to lie still as if he were dead. The noise he had heard was made by a tiger or a panther, which now jumped down. The lizard tried to seize it, but the tiger quickly sprang out of the reach and then jumped down upon it again and immediately back upon another tree. Each time the tiger scratched the lizard and hurt it very badly, so that it soon ran away with the tiger in pursuit. The tiger chased it straight back to its den, catching it all the way. The man did not dare to move, however, and thought that the tiger would eat him up when it returned. He did not know it had come back until it was close by and he heard it say, "Are you dead?" At first he did not reply, but presently added, "I am here, going to die, for I protect you." The man answered, "No, I'm not dead." "Well, get up," said the tiger, but the man remained where he was until the animal lifted him to his feet. But then the man staggered about in a circle 4 times. The tiger lapped him all over, or let his saliva run all over him, and said, "Can you stand on your feet?" "No," the man answered. "Then come and climb upon my back, and I will carry you." The man told him he thought he would be too heavy, but the tiger answered, "Oh, I can carry you. Sometimes I carry 2 deer, and I can carry you just as easily." So the hunter climbed upon the tiger's back and started with him for camp. On the way, they came upon the shot pouch, which he had dropped when he was being pursued, and later on the gun. The tiger told him to pick them up and carry them. After they had reached a place close to the camp, the tiger set him upon the ground and told him to go the rest of the way himself. The man invited him to come to his camp and get all the food he wanted, but the tiger answered that he could get plenty. However, he said, "My friend, I have 2 nephews whom you must never disturb." "Who are they?" the man asked. "One is Wildcat, and the other Housecat. Housecat is the lesser. Tell anyone what I've said to you." However, at a later time, the man did tell someone about it. After that, they parted. The man returned to his camp. The summer after this, the same man was on a hunt and heard turkeys gobbling. He discovered one of them sitting at the top of a pine tree and was preparing to shoot at it when he noticed something crawling up the tree toward it. This he found was a wildcat, and remembering what the tiger had said to him, he gave up attempting to shoot the turkey and stood watching. Presently, the wildcat sprang at the turkey, but missed it and fell from the top of the tree to the bottom. It struck the ground, and he heard it cry, "Wow, wow, wow." Remembering what the tiger had done for him, the hunter ran to the place what he could do. Animal. He found that it had knocked out an eyeball, and when he came near, said, "Have you hurt yourself?" On hearing the man speak, however, the wildcat, who was trying to put his eyeball back in place, pulled it out, threw it away, and ran off. This story could not have belonged to the Panther clan, because the Panther called him my friend. Had he been the same clan, he would have said my brother. There was a great hunter who owned many dogs, with which he would beat up a bottom and frequently kill bear. One time he heard them barking and thought he had discovered a bear, but when he reached them, he found them around a hollow tree, on which a Hatkaliva lived. Hatkaliva would come out, take a dog, carry it back into his den. Then the man ran off. When he got nearly out of sight, he could hear a few dogs still barking. The number was presently reduced to one, and soon this one stopped. Then the man looked back and saw that Hatkaliva was coming after him, glittering as it came. When it came jumping up to him, he shot it, but it seized him by the middle, knocked his gun out of his hands, and started back with him. He was not hurt, but he thought that when it got him to its young ones, they would eat him up. The Hatkaliva took him down the valley, and as they passed between two pine trees, he caught sight of something galloping and thought, now they are going to devour me. What he had seen, however, was a panther, which jumped upon the Hatkaliva and made the Hatkaliva let go of him. Then it jumped back up to the tree. Every chance it got, the panther would jump down upon the Hatkaliva and then back to the tree. And in this way it tore the Hatkaliva's back to rags and killed it. Then the panther came to where the man lay, and the latter thought he was going to be eaten. But the panther said, "Are you dead yet?" "No," he answered, "I'm not dead yet." "Well, get up." So he got up, and the panther marched around him, mewing like a cat, and said, "Nothing will disturb you. Stay there." The man started a fire, and the panther brought up some wood for him. Then it went off, killed the deer, and brought it back. So he cut up and roasted the deer, and after he got better, the panther said to him, "Never kill anything of my species. Get your gun and go home." By and by, the man took a notion to hunt and discovered a turkey on a tree. He discovered, however, that a wildcat was creeping toward it. So he stopped and watched it. But when the wildcat jumped at the turkey, it missed and fell to the ground with a squall, as if it were hurt. It seemed in pain, and in fact, the man saw that one of his eyes was out. When he came up to help it, however, the wildcat pulled out his other eye and threw that away also and ran away. This is said to signify the separation of man and beast. We'll skip that one. We'll skip that one. And that one. And that one. And that one. Let me back up out of here. Here we go. Here's something interesting. We'll start with the ghost. People were out hunting with their families, made camps, and hunted out for them. Then one man went out hunting and got lost. He traveled about trying to camp, and at night sat down under a tree. Far off, he heard someone shout, and he thought, people are in search. And presently, the noise came close. Then it was something else that howled. It came near and was gone. The voice again sounded far off, approached, got near, and was gone. Far off again, the voice approached, got near, and was gone. Good. Man stuck a hunting knife into the ground, his gun prepared to shoot, and remained there until it came, and then rose and started off. He hunted for the traveled about in search of it, but could not find it. Came, he had sat down under a tree. Now, in the distance, and he thought, people are coming to meet me. It was just a raccoon which came near, its body giving out light, and it stayed scratching up something to eat. Then the man remained seated, but did not sleep, and when day came, he started on again. He traveled about, hunting for the camp, but could not find it. At night, he again sat down under a tree. Then a horned owl, crawfish, came from the direction of the bright sheet of water. In the distance, it hooted and came toward him. It came on, and when it got close to him, it disappeared. After he remained seated for a while, it hooted again in the distance, came on, got close to him, and was gone. He sat there until day again and traveled about in search of the camp. At night he sat under a tree as usual, stuck his knife into the ground, and held his gun ready. Day found him still sitting there, and again he arose and walked about. He was sleepy and thought, I will lie down for a while. While the man was asleep, he thought he saw someone sitting upon the top of a tree, who said to him, your camp is straight in the direction in which your head lies. He was astonished and arose and awoke. Then he arose and went on in the direction in which his head had been lying. He came to the camp. The other people had thought he's dead. When he arrived, all went there and saw him. Then he covered himself up with a blanket and lay down without saying a word. Let's get that all out. A man went hunting. Presently he killed a deer, roasted it, and piled up the meat. When it was night, a man came and sat down by the fire. The hunter gave him deer meat. He ate for a while and then took the rest of the deer meat and carried it off. When he came back, the hunter gave him some more venison and he carried it off. He came back again. He gave him some venison and he carried it off. So it continued until the venison was exhausted. The last time, he took the deer hide, and when he had just started off with it, the man ran away. He ran on and started to cross a creek on a footlog, but he slipped. He slipped off and fell into the water. The man behind ran on and on after him, mounted on the footlog, crossed, stopped, ran back, crossed again, and kept going back and forth. He went this way, he kept saying. When daylight came, he disappeared. As soon as the sun rose, the hunter, who had remained down in the water, got out and went back to his camp. When he got there, he tracked the other. On the way, he saw some old spunk stuck into the crack of a tree, which he pulled out and threw away. He put fire in there, and when the tree burned, the ghost, whose house it was, began to cry and was destroyed. Adventures with supernatural beings. A man heard a shout, and thinking to himself, "It is some of our people." He called back, but the noise was not made by human beings. Two creatures came to the place where he was and followed him. When he started on, they followed him without ceasing. When he tried to go on, they started on walking backward. After they had gone for a short distance, he ran, but they pursued him. And when he ran again, they caught him. They kept following him. One of the beings that went along with him wiped one of his eyes so that he could not see, and for some time wailing. The other wiped the other eye, and he stood for a while completely blind. When he could begin to see, he went on again, and they followed without stopping. Then he walked on backward, and the others started on backwards also. They went along backward some distance apart. When he got some distance away, he turned about and ran, and those two ran after him. When they had nearly caught up with him, children, holding to each other, sitting on the top of a tree, said to him, "Cut that one off." So he jumped up and brought down the one hanging lowest. When his pursuers reached him, they took the creature from him and went on. Then that man could see through 4 hills and trace the numerous roots in the ground. He went on and got home. After he had lived there for a while, the Indians and English Virginians fought, and that man fought the whites and beat them. The whites were very desirous to get the land of the Indians, but the Indians defeated them. When the white people sat down to eat, the Indians scared them, they knocked them down where they sat and killed them. They scalped them all. After that, a poor orphan without a father or mother lay down and wrapped himself up in the bedclothes, and a long snake came and wrapped itself about him and carried him into the water. When it got there, it dropped him without eating him. Then the snake said, "The man is good, carry him back." So the same one that wrapped itself about him brought him back. But before he was taken away, they said to him, "This is our water, it shall be yours also." The snake went on with its tail wrapped about him, and when it came out of the water, it said, "Are you out?" "No," he answered. It came on again and said, "Are you out?" "No, it came on." "No," he answered. It came on again and said, "Are you out?" "Yes." Then the snake said, "Don't look at me." When he had let him out, the man said, "Ohio, it is the tail of the snake crawfish." "Whoa," the creature sounded, jumping into the water with a splash, and he was gone. After that, the man would dive out of sight into some witching water, seizing a turtle and bringing it out. He would dive into another witching water, out of sight, seize a little alligator and bring it out. By and by, he seized a red panther, which always lives in the water, and fought with it, endeavoring to carry it out. But he could in no way succeed, and after he had tried for a while, he became scared and went out. The children who hold on to each other were small beings like children who stood on one another's shoulders and were supported by the one at the top who hold on by a branch. That's creepy. The Sapia, a man who had just married, went off hunting with some other people, and the wife he had left behind followed them. They went on and made camp and spent the night, and when day came, they went on again. They went on and camped at night. The woman who had been left behind came on and used magic. She wanted to see him. She could not remain quiet, and after she had stayed a while, she followed him again. She followed on running. She went on without stopping until, ahead of her, she heard someone singing. By and by, she got near it and found it was singing beside the road. When she went on farther, she saw a sapia standing in one place with its top moving around. She stood for a while, looking at it, and then pulled it up. Then she came back. She came down to the stream of running water, broke a piece off of the sepia, and put it into the water. She sang as it had sung, blew into the water, drank, and threw it up, and came on. She came on steadily, and when she got home, her mother shut her up in the corn crib. Then her husband followed her. He came on. He came on running when he got home. He hunted for his wife in the house. He went round everywhere after her until day came. He questioned people about her, but they did not tell him, and he stood around helplessly. He asked his mother-in-law repeatedly, but she said she had not seen her daughter. "I thought she went on with you," she said. After he had cried repeatedly, she opened the corn crib, and he saw her. Some pygmy people and a human being went hunting together, killed some small birds, brought them in, cooked them, and ate them. They went hunting, they killed a skunk, and the pygmies wanted to skin it on the spot, being unable to carry it home. But the human being took it by the feet and brought it back. After he had brought it in, they threw it on the fire, singed it, cooked it, and ate it. But the pygmies ate a little and stopped, while the man sat eating until it was gone. Next time, they hunted bear. When they pursued it and killed it, The human being wanted to skin it, but the pygmies seized it by the legs and carried it home. After they had gotten to camp with it, they threw it on the fire to singe it and then cooked it. When they ate, the human being ate a little and stopped, but the pygmies kept on eating until it was all gone. The next time they started off, they came to a little creek which the human being jumped across, but the pygmies did not know how to cross it. Then the man hunted for a tree to make a footlog upon which all got over. When they started out, they came to a big river which the human being did not know how to pass, but the pygmies jumped across, tied some logs together, and made a raft upon which they ferried him over. Then they started on. The bear people. Alright, this is probably going to be the last one. The people living in a certain town went about hunting. While they were doing so, some of them saw a white bear, but the others could not see it. By and by, one of the men hunting about killed the white bear and took it home. He returned with it, shouting and happy, and divided it up, cooked it, came together and ate it. When they got through, they played ball, being very joyful at their success. The one man said, "Are you all glad? It is wrong to be so." Later, when this man was walking alone in the forest, a big bear stood in front of him and said, "They have killed my chief. I am going to kill the people. If you believe me, tell your people. If they believe you, take them to the other side of the creek." When he got home, he told his people. Some of them believed him, and when he started to move, they followed, while others did not believe him and did not follow. After some time, a bear came to the people, and they killed it. Another one came, and they killed that. Still another came. Next, two came. Then 3 came. Then 4 came. The number kept increasing until 10 came. After that, more and more came until they had destroyed all of the people. Afterwards, the man went out, and the bear met him. It said, "Kill and eat us any time you wish, and we will not hurt you." A man of the bear clan, Nidaiska, living in a certain village, went hunting deer, and while walking around met a bear. "How many men of your clan are there?" said the bear. He told him how many there were. Then the bear said, "I am going to come on the 4th day. I am going to kill all the people. All of you bear people, hang up a white cloth. I will not kill anyone at your camp." Some of the men did not believe this. On the morning of the 4th day, the bears came, and the people took their guns to kill him. Many little and big bears came and killed all the people, but left those who had a white cloth hung out. Oh, it's a lot of dead air. My bad. It's too early in the morning. Yeah, I think that's enough for one night. Hope it's even still running, maybe. Hope y'all enjoyed it. I'm Fear the Greatwhite. I love you all. I'm out. Bye.